Have you had many encounters with Durham University students? If so, were these more positive or negative? Well, for me personally, I would say positive because I work with quite a few Durham students and yeah, I don't really have any negatives to say really.
I go on nights out a lot in Durham, and through my friends I've met a lot of other Durham uni students, and they've all been very positive encounters. Never had anything negative to say. Nothing bad.
Yeah, same.
I'm good. I'm on the opposite end of that. I think it's been mostly negative, with just the perception, like again what I'm saying about the perception of that the Durham uni students seem to have of Northerners. And I remember I was walking one time to one of my friends' houses. I was walking down the main street of Durham, and all the students were walking about, and I heard these two people in front of us turn around and say, "I didn't realise there was homeless people in Durham," because they just think like it's seem to think it's like some sort of microcosm of the South, and it's just not, just because they're all here, and it's not actually how people live. Most encounters with all said have just been at a club or in a social event, like a bar, or like I say, a club again.
And I would say they were all positive.
Yeah.
I've never had like a negative encounter with a student.
I'm going to say negative. Say negative, yeah. I'll stick with my negative on that.
Yeah, I feel like I've had a good few encounters, but overall positive.
I would say positive.
With what? What would you say more positive for girls or boys?
Both. I feel like there's never...
See, I think it's the boys. I think it's the student boys who are worse.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Though.
Yeah, like
I would
boys,
agree.
That sort of people like that. I think they're worse.
I've not had as many encounters with
Boys
student boys, yeah. Like about 90% of them have been girls.
I think there's the boys that are worse. Next question.
What are your favourite and least favourite things about living in such a student dense city?
It really is student like. I don't know because I think students are only associated with literally the city centre.
Yeah.
So literally, yeah. Whereas if you go to like further out, like where's it like people from work like lives in, what's it, Krug or something?
Yeah.
Is that some classes?
Yeah. Krug.
Yeah, like places like that, like or like Shincliffe, where's that lives?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like that. Durham uni students, if you said that them places, I wouldn't even know where they are. You know what I mean? Like, so I think I wouldn't say it's only like student heavy if you're in the centre. Whereas if you're just where you live, it's not.
So what's your favourite and your least favourite?
About what?
About living in such a student dense city.
Well, I like it because, for example, like a night out, or
yeah,
like
it's
Saturday,
a mix, yeah.
I just think it
I would
creates
say the
atmosphere.
same.
Different,
it's
yeah.
good.
That's a good thing, and then a negative thing would be
That could work both ways. Like if you want like a quiet weekend or anything, city centre, it's never not going to be busy.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, to be fair. And to be fair, I feel like, because obviously most people like from Durham don't go out during the week, whereas like students go out like on Wednesday.
And not really a weekend.
So like, I mean, obviously there is a bit of clash and like they do cross over past at some point, but like I say with students, like it seems to be mostly during the week that they go out, and I don't think like I've been out one time with my friend who goes to Durham Uni, and I went out with her and like went out to the club, and like it was literally just everyone on that Wednesday was all Durham Uni students. Like, it wasn't a single person who didn't go to that uni there. So it's like, yeah.
So that's a favourite.
Least favourite. I don't feel like there is anything I would say that
I think
don't
no, it's a bit of a
like.
When it's not term time, because I live quite close in the city centre of Durham. When it's term time, it feels a bit like a ghost town. Like there's no one there. Like whereas like during term time, there's constantly students walking about, there's constantly people out and about. Whereas like when it's like Christmas and stuff like that, there's no one, literally no one. So I think that's a bit strange. Except the international students who stay. Like,
yeah, true, but that's
because they don't go back home to like Hong Kong or whatever. What they don't. Imagine the cost of that flight. To be fair though, the amount of money that the do you know what I always think about, right? Do you know when you're walking down Durham City Centre, like, so do you know what, like, tortilleries and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Right. The amount of shops that are, like, just boarded up and, like, have nothing in them and, like, like, not actual shops, like, do you know when they've got out of business or whatever, or they've moved or something like that, and it's just, like, empty buildings, right?
Uh-huh.
There's so many of them, and you're walking down, like, kind of river walk sort of way. Like, it's such a missed economy. I really think it's such a missed economy. Because despite it being seasonal, I've always said, obviously seasonal because students are here and they're not. I literally think they could bring so much more money into Durham if, like, they had the right. Right, imagine you work in Urban Outfitters, like, in the middle of there, students, the type of stuff that students wear, and they've got money, they would go feral over that. They would eat that up. I just think, like, or even, like, local businesses. I think local businesses, it could actually thrive. I think this is such a good place for it to thrive, local business. If it's catered towards students, that's where you're going to get your money. I actually genuinely think that, like, it's such a missed market. Like, I don't know why they don't do more with it, because they could actually make so much money.
We're moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there is a set of unspoken rules between students and locals? If so, what are they?
Yeah, 100%. Like, some of the lads I'm friends with, like, obviously from home, like, go out with Durham sometimes, and they're just, like, they have such an intolerance for there's such a big thing between, like, northerners and southerners, and it's like, if, like, some posh boy starts on them, or, like, gets, like, lippy or whatever, it's not going to end well for them, is it?
No.
Yeah.
It's not gonna end well. Like, I've seen so many fights. Like, one of my, again, this friend who I keep repeating about, who goes to Durham Uni, because she tells us a lot of things I'm really close to her. Like, so one of the boys that she's friends with, from Durham Uni, went out on a Saturday and didn't like read the room, didn't read the environment, started on, like, some local lads. He just got smacked about. So.
Yeah. I feel like that's the thing with lads, though. I feel like
up north is a lot more scrappy.
Yeah.
Like here, with locals, scrappy. I'm not like, because when I say down south, obviously London's rough, where you're gonna get stabbed like everywhere you turn. But I mean, like, a lot of these places where these students are from, they're all, like, a lot of them are private schools, like places like Surrey, stuff like that, where you don't see this sort of, like, you'll see Rajis, you know what I mean?
Very, like, chill.
Yeah, it's like.
And Durham's, like, a really good uni, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like.
It's one of the top.
Like the best of the best go.
Yeah, it's like, it's in with Oxford and Cambridge.
Yeah.
It's like Oxford, Cambridge, Durham.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from. Like, everyone rough from up here. Obviously, just start on Durham Uni students, fight no reason. I was calling them posh and.
Yeah, I think that's just the thing.
To be
just
fair,
thing.
I feel like Durham actually wouldn't even be a place if it didn't have the uni. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think what baffles me is when, like, students come over from, like, bloody India and just come to Durham. To Durham. And I think that's it's baffling for us, because we just live here in some random little small city, and it's, like, basically a town. Like, it's so small, it's like a town.
Yeah, like, no one's ever really, like,
and someone comes from the other side of the globe.
Yeah.
To be here. What's the hype about, guys?
No one, like, down London, if you say where's Durham, they're not going to
in it, that's what I'm saying. The only reason why people would know, and if you don't live in Durham or you're not from up north, the only reason why you know Durham's a place is because of the uni. Like, if you went to some person down south and was like, where's Durham? They'd only possibly know because of the uni. But that's about it. Anyways, that was a bit of a sidetrack. But if I was a student, I just wouldn't go out on Saturday. Best interest at heart, don't go out on a Saturday, bro. If you want to get battered.
Yeah, I just feel like
you don't actually get scrapped.
The unspoken rules just don't get, like, cocky with one another. Like, I feel like that's when it just ends in disaster, really. Are we moving on?
Yeah, sure.
In what ways, positively or negatively, do you think the university impacts the town? For example, the housing or job market?
A lot of job wise, a lot of places are quite hesitant to employ students
because of
availability. And because I say again, a lot of the students are down south, so when they're going home, they're at home for, like, 4 or 5 weeks at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, because, like I say, the population of the uni students isn't up north. They can't just come to the job despite it being not in term time. Like, you know what I mean? They can't just drive, whatever. I don't know. I don't really think a lot of the people where I go places in Durham, it's all, not many of its students working. I don't know. They all seem to be like northern, but
So you don't feel like all the students are taking all the jobs?
no. I think in the clubs, a lot of them are. In clubs, a lot of them are students.
Like young type jobs, like just temporary.
Yeah, but not any form of like.
Nothing long term.
No.
Yeah, like where I work, there's only 2 students that like work there. The rest are just local people.
Yeah, so it's like.
So is there any positive ways we think that it's has an impact on the town?
I mean, that's
Any
good, because then
positives?
they're not taking up jobs.
And it's
I
like
think-
fueling the economy, isn't it? Like in small businesses and like Durham and stuff, obviously
the
they're gonna like it's build more revenue and
Like-
it's good for them.
Like the recognition because of the uni, you do get. That's what brings people in.
I was gonna say, I feel like people like travel here just to see Durham because it's
Yeah.
like known. Do you know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
would like come down for a weekend.
You get a lot of
touristy.
you get a lot of like academics, there's a lot of like with the uni, obviously it's being a higher uni, there'd be a lot of like academics, a lot of meetings, a lot of like quite important
Yeah.
people, like that sort of stuff. So,
But with the housing,
That's
do you
like-
think there's like a lot of houses being built
Well,
for
I
uni
was
students
walking-
that could be for families and stuff like that?
well, when I was walking down Elvet, is it Elvet? Yeah, down Elvet, like you know how there's like estate agents on the streets there.
Yeah.
There'll be people like with chairs like sat there like when it's like for, at start of the year, start like term whatever. Like people sat in camping chairs, like sat like lines of, this is real as well. I think lines of people like sat there like waiting to go in the estate agent just so they can get a house. Because I know there's like a problem with housing, student housing in Durham, it's not enough. So like
See, I feel like
people
it's
like
mad.
sleep there overnight. It's like
Because like when you go into Durham, like all you see is like construction and it's all like going to be student housing.
I was gonna say.
But then like I was speaking to like someone I know who goes to Durham Uni, and they were saying how like it's so hard these days to like get a house in Durham, like to find anywhere, which is actually
think-
so mad because all like you see in Durham is like student
Student
housing,
housing.
like getting built.
I literally thought that was like 60% of like.
Yeah,
60%
like
of the other
all
40% of,
construction.
Like, shops.
Yeah, like all construction that you see in Durham, it's all for student housing.
yeah, I think well they won't like we're talking about Durham and the housing. It's only city centre on about for like student housing. Like no one lives.
Yeah.
Like
Not much further out.
I feel I know I like I've heard of people having to go to like even Jesmond to get student housing because there's been such a shortage here. So
Durham?
yeah, and like
It's quite far.
I have to go to Jesmond and get like the training,
Oh my
which
God.
is like not ideal. Like
Yeah, definitely not.
No.
But it is weird because that's all you see, but then all you hear is like you can't, like people can't find a house. But like it's all you see is new houses getting built. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just be
true.
ongoing for.
Because they have like, because a lot of people live in the colleges that they have as well, like the accommodation built by the uni, which I think is different because obviously like in normal uni cities you just have like private accommodation. There's like loads of it, but because Durham's quite small, like they don't have any of the like private accommodation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In other cities, like even like Newcastle, there's so many like privately owned, like stories and stories buildings of like private student accommodation where Durham has none of that. It's all just houses, and obviously there's the colleges that they live in, but there's no like private stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Do you enjoy Durham with the atmosphere of students, or do you prefer with no students out of term time, and why?
Out of term time.
Yeah, like do you prefer when all the students are like in Durham, or do you prefer when they're all like back home?
It's very quiet when they're all back home.
And do you prefer it like that, or do you prefer when it's busy?
Depends on the situation.
See, I feel like with me, I love a night out when it's dead. Like I actually
Really?
I hate a busy night. Like I just feel like
I
you
feel
can't
what
get
can
in
go wrong,
anywhere.
What can go wrong?
Yeah, like I prefer dead, so I actually do prefer when they're all at home.
Oh, I quite like the atmosphere where like the build-up of just.
I think as well though, like I don't know, I get quite defensive about it, like in the sense of like I don't know, like I don't like it when they all come back. I don't like it.
Yeah, but that's like an overload though, because obviously it's everyone at once.
I think it's just because it goes from 0 to like 100.
Or
Like I was saying about being like a ghost town, like no one's there, and then all of a sudden, like it's filled again. It's just strange.
Yeah, but you're not like that for like day-to-day life, or is it like all the time?
I don't know, because I live right next to like where I live with my mum and dad. We live right next to student housing in Durham, because obviously we used to live in Newcastle, but we moved to Durham. And like it's right next to student housing, so like no one's there half the time. Like in term time, like no one's there. Over summer, like no one's there.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's weird because obviously you don't actually have neighbours who are actually there. You know what I mean?
That'd be too lonely for me.
I prefer to be dead.
To be dead.
Yeah, like I like it when there's like no one about. Like when it's busy, like I hate busyness.
So you prefer when
I
students
do
are-
prefer when they're all at home, yeah.
Is that because of them or because of like?
No, not just because of them, but just because
because of
I
people
like it
being-
when it's
yeah.
quiet. Like I don't like busy social settings, but nothing against them.
Wait, can you see that the question we've just done again? The question we've just done now.
Do you enjoy Durham with the atmosphere of students, or do you prefer with no students out of term time? But to be fair, I like both. Like I'm saying, I don't like it, but
atmosphere
I
of
do.
students. I think the only thing you can think about atmosphere-wise is going to a club or going out.
Yeah.
Socially. Like
Just
that's
the
the
social
only
side.
dimension there is, because with Durham, there's Durham City Centre. I'm on about again. There's nothing. There's nothing there. There actually is nothing there.
Yeah, it's very small.
But what does that do? There's a few restaurants.
Yeah, it's
Which you
just
could
like
probably- you
one
could-
street.
You can have them. You can do them all in like a week, man. All the restaurants that's there. Like there's nothing there, and like even bars quite limited. I think the only place where no students go is the Drunken Duck. Like no students go there.
Really?
No, they actually don't. Like when I've been there, it's all on Saturdays. All locals. Like you'll not catch some southerner strutting in there.
Oh, I disagree because
Do you reckon?
yeah.
I think they're cruising for a bruise and they're going in there on a Saturday. I think
Girl
that's.
I know, like she's a student, and every Saturday she like wants to go in there just for the people.
I don't know, but I feel like it depends how it depends how the students think, what their perception is of Northerners. Like if they're like I don't know, like dicks about them and don't like them, then it's not gonna end well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Could you that sound nice of a person, though?
I know.
I don't know.
One of the older girls that we work with, she was telling us one time that she went out, and she was telling us that she went out and there was like these like two girls, obviously for students, sat on the table next to her and they're like staring at her and being loud and whatever, and like she was like getting so angry. She was like, I literally will bury you, like I will fight you, like is that whatever. I was part of that when she told us. But yeah, I think like Northerner, like people up north compared to students, like I feel like they're actually way more game for a fight. Like that's sharp. They're actually so game for a fight. Northerners.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
like compared to like the
definitely.
uni students, they're so like I've actually like when I've been out, I've never ever seen like students be in a fight. It's always like on Saturday, because I've been out during the week sometimes, but like it's always on Saturday.
But do you feel like that's because we're there in our area? Like I feel like if
Not
like
even-
if Northerners were in like a southern uni, like they would all be like the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they'd be the same with us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's just people are territorial.
That's true though.
Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like if Northerners were in like a southern uni, I feel like it'd be the exact same.
Because a lot of like
Like I feel like people are just territorial. I don't know.
I feel like just Southerners have a very negative view of Northerners.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even, like,
I would
just, like,
agree.
Because if you said like obviously said the drama always happens on a Saturday, it's like the local student thinking, because if there's like calm like peace on a Wednesday compared to
Yeah.
the weekend.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna say.
I feel like the like students would prefer to be going out when there's not locals there. Do you know what I mean?
Just to enjoy it more.
Yeah, but like, when do you ever hear of like drama during a week that happened? Do you know what I
It
mean?
is,
Like,
like, you
it's
actually
always
don't,
on a
like-
weekend. Like, it's when people have had a drink.
And police are always out.
Yeah.
There's police are always out Friday, Saturday. During the week on like a Wednesday, like not really.
Never.
Or like on Monday, no.
Mm.
So it's
Yeah.
like I say, that's why it makes you think like that it's more fight if there's like the locals out. sort of thing, rather than like students. But like I said, what sort of... But the thing is though, like I swear like locals don't go to... What clubs would you go to?
In Durham?
Yeah.
Spoons.
Yeah, I go to Spoons a lot, but...
What, like lotteries?
Yeah.
Slug.
See, that's not a club though.
That's a bar, isn't
That's
it?
a
love
bar.
Slug.
Do you think that's a bar?
I could
wouldn't-
stay in Slug
That's a
all
bar. I
night.
wouldn't call that a club. But it kind of was when we went on that Christmas night out.
I do love
That it
stuff,
kind of was like more of a bar when we went. I mean, more of a club when we went because it was so busy.
Yeah, but to me,
Yeah.
a club is like lights out, like dance floor.
Yeah. Like Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's nowhere like that in Durham.
No.
Local for locals. Do you go Bohemia? Or just go Bohemia?
I've literally never. The only
I've
time
never
I've
been
out
to
in Durham-
Bohemia.
Slow down.
I've been to one in Newcastle.
Yeah, obviously one in Newcastle.
But
not
not the
the
one
one
in
here.
Durham.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like the clubs are like the only for students.
I just think it's so limited.
A lot of them aren't actually open on the weekend.
Really?
It's like Babylon. What's that on North Road?
Yeah.
That's not open on the weekends. It's only open during the week.
So crazy.
That's only open during the week, and then like, I mean Jimmy's, but
Because some of them would be like branded as student only. So that might be
because
why
when
they're
you
not
buy the
open.
ticket, it's like student night. It's like when you buy the ticket for most clubs, it's like branded as a student night.
For
sort
like
of thing.
events and stuff.
Yeah, like events. Yeah, during the week. I don't know. Again, like you wouldn't actually get many locals going out during the week because, despite like obviously they're not at uni, they have jobs and stuff, whatever. But like a lot of them don't actually live in the centre.
Yeah, so it's a bit.
So on a Wednesday night, you're not just gonna be like, if you live somewhere like up in like Crook or whatever, you're gonna be getting an Uber down to go to the club on a Wednesday. Are you? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whereas students live like on the doorstep, so it's different.
So it's just more convenient than going
Yeah.
to the other one.
Right, what's the next one?
Do you think it's the university's responsibility to help improve the relationship between locals and students? No.
No,
Like, what can the uni
no,
actually do?
I'd say no because I'd say yeah. Sorry, yeah, because they've got such a platform directly to address and speak to these students, right? They've got such a platform. I think maybe they should have more of an emphasis on the fact of like genuinely. Obviously, everyone knows there's Southerners who come, as some Southerners dominated. So like, I think they should have more of like a. They've got the ability to speak to students on like a wider scale and be like, look, be mindful of the fact that people actually live here, and it's not just a uni for Southerners. Like for OU's down south, like people actually live here, and this is where they live, and this is their home. Like know that as a local, so like be more mindful of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And actually recognise the fact that this whole city's not just here for students and for yous. Like people live here, people have grown up here, people's grandparents live here, like families that like you know what I mean for generations have lived here, and it's not just some people from Surrey can come up, from Surrey or bloody you know what I mean like
Yeah.
posh private schools would come up and then think it's just them who are there and that's that. Like I say when them girls that I was walking past and said like they didn't even think there'd be homeless people in Durham. What? What are you on about?
Just
What?
making no sense.
Like what?
I get what you mean, but I disagree. I think I get in the sense of it's a city. Obviously, it's not going to be just like students, but the university obviously they go there just for that education. Like realistically, you don't go to uni to socialise. Like you go for your lectures. You
But that's
go,
not real.
go to the library.
That's not realistic though.
I know. I just think like it's not the university's responsibility. I think it's your responsibility.
Yeah,
as a
I
person
agree with
to-
that.
It's your responsibility as a person to like realise when you're in university, like fair enough, like you're having your education, you can like socialise with people who's got a similar background to you, but you should know to yourself like when you speak to someone northern, you're not going to have the same background. So that you like
But
differentiate
a lot of them have just like take someone who's like from down south, right, with a private school, has only ever been surrounded by like affluent like people with money, like you know what I mean. They've only ever been around that. They've only like you know what I mean. Their whole life, they've only ever been in that area. They've only ever been around them sort of people. And then they come somewhere like this, like it's like that like uneducated in the sense of like it sounds silly, but like how the other half lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I suppose that's them being in like the little bubble.
Yeah, in a bubble, like, but they don't like. That's what I'm saying. It's like the lack of education towards the fact that not everyone is in that position that they are. Not everyone in private school. Not everyone has like boatloads of money. Like, I think it should be like, I don't know. It should I don't know. Educate is the right word, but it should
Made
be
aware.
made aware more, because I think they really like overlook that. I don't know, that not like everyone has money, and I think like it would do them better as people. I don't know.
I just don't think the university can do anything to improve it,
But
because
they've got
I just
such a big
think
platform.
people are going to do what they're going to do, because like
Yeah,
in
I
school,
suppose.
like you didn't listen to the school, did you?
That's
like
true. Yeah,
like you don't listen. Like you do what you want to do at the end of the day. Do you know
I think
what I mean?
how do you actually reverse people's views?
And like
You can't really
like
reverse people's
realistically,
opinions
Yeah.
what can uni do? What can they do?
When you're like an adult as well. 'cause
Even
you're
if they
sort of
gave,
set in
like-
your own ways.
Yeah.
I just think
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to like to change someone's perspective, but again, they might be around locals, but they're still also in that bubble, because all the people who come to that uni are from private school, do have money, so
Yeah.
still, despite being up in the north, they're still in that bubble. You know what I mean?
It's just hard to like get them out of it.
Yeah, it's like, how do you convince an adult, basically adults, like to change their opinion?
So
That's
do
quite-
you
quite
think
hard
it
to
is
do.
their responsibility?
I think they could try do something
But
about
do
it.
what?
I think if it was going to be down to anyone, practicality-wise and logically, the uni would have the best, largest platform, the most power, per se, to achieve some goals in that way, but whether it's successful or not is a different story altogether.
Yeah.
But if anyone was to do anything, it was like, it would have to be the uni. Because
Exactly.
who else could it be? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not. You're not going to get that on social media. or
You're not going to
anything.
get that on social media, you're not going to get them, like, the locals on can convince them, like, I don't know, like, who else would?
Yeah.
Mm,
Out of it, yeah, I suppose.
You know what I
that's
mean?
true.
Like, who actually else would?
yeah.
I'm not saying whether it'll 100% be successful, but if anyone's going to do anything, it would have to be the uni. Because, like I say, I've got such a large platform. And like, I've literally got access to every single student in Durham. And no one else has that. Not necessarily their responsibility, but...
I just don't think anything is going to change people's opinions. It's all to do with money, in my opinion.
I think if anyone was going to have the platform, it's going to be Durham Uni to do it.
Well, yeah, I do
But
think
again,
if anything
I
was
agree with
to
you
be
that it
done,
wouldn't be successful.
yeah, I don't think it would be successful, but I feel like if it was to be done, it could only be them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't feel like they have to, but it's obviously just the fact of if they didn't, no one else would.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we go on to the last question?
Yeah.
In 10 years, do you think the relationship between locals and students will change, and why or why not?
Oh, I like this one.
I don't think it will.
Really?
I don't, because I just think
10 years. 10
in 10 years, I just think people are going to be the same. No one is going to have changed their thoughts. And if you actually deep it for
Think
a
about-
minute, I think 10 years isn't a long
actually not that
time.
long.
Like, it's not a long time for people
How
to
wait,
fully change.
2014, right, 2014,
I think that's a long
No.
time.
do you
I
think much has
that's no
changed?
time at all.
It's like 3 whole graduations away. That's like an entire new like set of students like every 3 years.
How old are people, sorry, wait, let's think, how old are people,
Well, in 10 years, I'll be 30.
but it's like students now 18, so the current students of 10 years time are 8 now. I don't know. Because they're having like a completely different thing, like they've grown up on social media, we didn't grow up on
Exactly.
social media.
So if you compare it to like
We got, when did you get like Instagram and stuff like that, and it was actually genuinely something in your life, not just you had it because your friends had it? Like, when do you think it actually became a part of your life properly, like social
like
media?
took it seriously.
Yeah, like when it was
Like
after
14.
13, 14.
Yeah.
Whereas these kids, it's like, bro, it's like from 7. Like 7 onwards, like they've got like iPhones, like iPads, you know what I mean?
Which I think, yeah, social
So
media can
the-
be taken as negatively, but I think it's positive because it's such a big platform, so they might learn more about backgrounds, and in 10 years' time, it might be more accepting of like a southerner living in a northern.
What about
hemisphere.
as well, like the northern economy? Because I think so many things are being put in place at the minute, and like HR, what's it called? No, HS2, high speed new railway line being put up, like basically to connect. Basically, it's a new railway line they've been working on for years to connect the north to the south, because the whole thing where this all comes from is like the social, economic deprivation in the north, right? And because all the jobs, everything like that's in the south, all the money is in the south, it's all there because like all the connections are there, all the like that's where everything is, and the north is like so separate from that, and they're trying to integrate the two and make like get rid of this barrier and get rid of this economic barrier, and so like if that continues to be something that the government focuses on, again getting rid of this northern south divide, and trying to stretch the like economies throughout the whole country, then I don't know if 10 years time is that enough for that to genuinely be successful, you know what I mean? So the north might not be so deprived then, is what I'm saying. Because the reason why they have this negative view on the north is because the north is deprived compared to the south.
Yeah, they just look down as if like poo and stuff.
Yeah. Because if you're gonna try, if you list like the top 10, I don't know, towns, cities, whatever in the UK that are the most like economically affluent, it's gonna be all down. They're all gonna be southern. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Durham's not gonna be up there.
Yeah, like I mean, like somewhere like Blythe is not gonna be on the list.
No.
Like, yeah, so I think I don't know, but I don't think 10 years is enough to do that.
Do you think? Because I think if you compare, obviously I don't know what university would have been like in the 90s, but like the 90s compared to now, I bet you that's changed so much. Even like 2000s.
Nah, that's 30 years, so
2000s, I meant to say.
that's 20 years.
No, but like compare like 2000 like up to 2010, like that whole 10-year period, compared to 2010 to 2020.
What do you think? You just stare at space. What do you think?
I just don't think it will change personally, because
Really?
I just think it'll have been
How
the
many
same
years do you
10
think it
years
would
ago.
have been? How many years do you think it would take to change?
I don't think it will change.
Ever?
I think it'll just be the same, constant.
Do you never think the north is going to become more? Because more.
How
more
long
people...
has Durham Uni been a thing?
No, but the thing is, right, more people from the north are going to university. That's the difference. Like more and more people from the north, as time goes on, are going to university.
Whereas obviously it just used to be south, like southern.
But people with money used to go to
Yeah, I know,
university.
but the question
Whereas
is
now,
between locals and students, so it's like far.
what do you
like
think? So,
southerners.
wait, what's the question again?
In 10 years, do you think the relationship between locals and students will change?
Oh, yeah.
But saying the word locals implies people who like
Or local here, yeah.
and are gonna stay in like
Yeah, but I feel like I take students as like
southerners, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't take that as like.
Yeah, it's
students
not
that
just
are
people
gonna
between
come
like
from here.
local students who like go
Yeah.
somewhere else. So like people from Durham who go to Newcastle Uni or Northumbria or something like that. Like that's not. It's nothing to do with that.
I just don't think it'll change because it'll have been the same 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it's still the same now. So I don't think in 10 years it will have changed at all.
Whose fault do you think it is? Do you think it's the fact that the southerners have such a negative perception of northerners and locals being so poor, or do you think it's like
Well,
the northerners having hostility towards
like,
southerners?
like I said before, I think it's just territorial. I think when,
Yeah.
because I feel like if a northerner went to a southern uni, like it would be the exact same. Like they would hate like them on their turf. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
feel like it is. I don't know. It's just very territorial.
Territorial, yeah.
Territorial. And I feel like it's predominantly like men. Like I feel like girls never get in fights because of it. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's
Northern
all
girls. The girls who go to the duck, they will have a fight.
Yeah.
Men. But I just
They
feel
will
like
rip hair extensions
it,
on eyelashes.
like it's not because like they're not from here. Do you know what I mean?
But even the differences between it is like the way they dress. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The way like southern students dress and the way like local girls dress. Like, I've not seen a single student with like eyelashes on or like, do you know what I mean? Eyelashes or like, eyelash extensions or anything like that. It's just not a thing. Whereas like locals, like you will not catch a girl going to the duck on a Saturday without a pair of eyelashes on or some all poly dress on. You're not gonna see that here. Lavender and fake tan. Whereas it's a completely different thing that you would not see that. Like the beauty standard's so different, you know what I mean? Like a northern lad would think, oh she's Mammy Hurling, she's fit. Like whereas like I feel like a student wouldn't necessarily find that attractive.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Actually, I keep like going away, like in 10 years' time.
I know we'll keep sidetracking.
Yeah.
Right. In like 10 years time,
I'm just gonna say no.
straight up no.
I'm just gonna say no.
What could change it though? Like if it was to change in 10 years, the dynamic between locals and students.
I just feel like it's...
What would have to be put in place to change it? Is what would it be?
I think it's just all down to money.
It is. It literally is all down money.
So if more got put in, like if more important people put up here, like if the government focused more on up here, schools and just money what goes towards like universities, there wouldn't be as much of a stereotype. So when some people came up here,
I think, but the thing is, so I think it's like it'll take quite a few more years to make the shift. Right, so the North, obviously, because it was all of our economy, like, even like 20, 30 years ago, was all based from like industry and like the coal mines and stuff like that.
yeah,
That wasn't down south, so that was all up north. And then obviously Margaret Thatcher was like, no coal mines, privatise it, blah, 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 all that. So then that's why the North's like so deprived, doesn't have all that money, this, that, whatever. I think like how long would it take to recover from that? Because how many people do you know are tradies?
up here.
How many people do you?
everyone.
How many people? I've been out, right, and I was speaking of. I have got some southern friends, and I was like, I remember saying like tradie, and like what is that? Like I'm like a tradesman, like someone who's like an electrician, like this, that, whatever, like you know what I mean, like a builder. It's like the ratio of how many people you would probably know who are like a tradie up north compared to down south.
Yeah, like 60% of my like
People
friends
from
and
school.
boys, yeah,
From school,
will be in that type of job.
literally.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it's way more of a thing to go do that, because like it's still the fact of like people's granddads did that, people's dads did that, so like that's what they go do, you know what I mean? And like join family businesses, like that sort of stuff.
So in 10 years, I think maybe not a drastic change, but
Not a drastic change.
I just think little things will go on all the time.
I think it all bases on how the economy of the north is looking at that point,
Yeah.
which I think that 100% shapes the perceptions of the people of the south. Of the people of the north. I think it's literally all just based on what the economy looks at that time. But like, I assume like the number of private schools down south would be way more. Went to a private school, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. That was an all-girls private school, wasn't
Where
it?
was?
Where is that?
She's from Leeds though, so.
No.
She's
No.
a teacher?
No, she's from Durham. She's from Durham. She moved to Leeds. She went to uni in Leeds
Ah.
for a few years. I don't know why she's got the accent, bro.
I was gonna say.
I said that to her before, like, why have you got the accent? Like, you went for 2 years, she needed to do 3 years, she dropped out. Like, why you come back sounding like you're from Leeds?
Oh my god, yeah.
But, yeah.
I thought she was from.
I thought she was from Leeds. Yeah, I thought she was from Leeds.
She lived there.
For 2 years? How?
How do you change that? Nah.
Yeah, she's from somewhere.
I'm Cap, I'm calling Cap. But,
yeah, is there anything anyone wants to add? Any other questions that we had?
yeah, well, I think we're pretty much at the end now. If anyone does anyone have
All
anything.
questions done.
Yeah,
I don't really think I have
anyone else has
anything
got
to
anything to
add.
add. No.
But like, I feel like it's been a good
I
like
think we've
topic
just
to talk
summarised everything.
about.
I can't think we can think of anything else, to be fair. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's it.